We will continue working on section 3.9 that we have already started in the previous class. Um, as I said, ya Shabab, in the previous class, it is important to recall some geometrical formulas for the volume, the area, the surface area, the circumference, and so on. So these are just the most important ones. But of course, you may need others. And we have solved in the previous class, I think, two examples about the related rates. What we mean by the related rates, you have a problem, you have two quantities or more, but usually in this course we will have two quantities mainly. Two quantities, they change with time, and there is the rate of their change. So we will apply the idea of the rate of change, and you know that the rate of change is just a derivative with time here, because we are talking about real life problems that represent quantities change with time. If you remember, in the first example, we had a spherical balloon that its volume is increasing with time. And we have the rate of increasement of the volume. We need to find the rate of increasing of the radius. And we first determine what is given, what is required. And then the most important step is how to find the relationship between these two variables, V and R, the volume and the radius. And then after that, you will differentiate. Then in the last step, you will substitute by the given values. If you look at this old exam question, it is almost the same idea that for your question. For example one, this is just direct application for example one. So if you finish example one and understand it, you will be able to solve this easily, because we are talking about here a sphere, and he gave you the rate of change of the radius, and he will ask for the rate of change of the volume. In the example, he gave you the volume and he asked for the radius. Here is the opposite, but the idea is the same. This is much easier. So we gave you like 7 steps that these are like guidelines for you, Shabab, to follow when you solve such problems. Be careful that step number 6 is coming before number 7, which means don't substitute before differentiating. You need to differentiate first and then substitute to avoid any error. Also, we have solved this example in the previous class. If you remember, Shabab, it was about a ladder that rests against a wall. And of course, here you need to find the rate of change of the vertical distance when you have the horizontal distance. طبعا the main part here is this relationship. What is the relationship between x and y, the vertical and the horizontal distances? And by Pythagorean theorem, it is this one. After that, you will differentiate and substitute. It is so easy after that. So I think this is the example that we need to work on today. So read this, step number 1. Read your problem carefully and understand it until you understand it. If you didn't understand it, you cannot solve it. So let's read it, ya Shabab, together, please. I will give you like 20 seconds to read it by yourself. And try to figure it out. Try to draw a figure for it. If you understand it, you will be able to draw a figure. Are you okay now, Shabab, with it? Who can tell me what is this problem? Is it area problem? Is it volume problem? Is it Pythagorean theorem or whatever? What is it about?
Volume.
Is it area?
Volume.
Volume. From where you know that it is about volume?
Because it's something pumped. It's water and level.
2 meter cube. 2 meter cube.
Also will help you. Yes, you are right. Because we are talking, this is the same idea of example 1. You have a water that is pumped into a tank. So it is about a volume. It is about capacity also, if you want to think about it like that. So we have a water tank has the shape of inverted circular cone. So what we need to know is what is the volume of the cone. You need to remember what is the volume of the cone and everything related to the cone. The word inverted here, usually the cone is like this. The word inverted, it means that it is upside down like this. With base radius, so if this is your cone, it will be inverted. If this is your cone, the radius, the base radius, so this is the radius of the base, is the base radius is 2 meters and the height is 4 meters. So the height of the cone is, this is the height, is 4. So R is 2, and of course the height is 4. Of course, if it is the level of the water is up to there, so the level of the water is up to 4. If water is being pumped into the tank at a rate of 2, so we have d watt over what? D watt, it is 2. What is it? What will be changed when we if the water being pumped into the tank at a rate of this? So what is this? D watt over what?
H over R.
Dx.
H over R.
H over R. This is the HDR. Is it the rate of a change of the height with respect to the radius?
No. H over T.
Oh, first of all, this cannot be R. It is T. It is changed with time. Look, minute. Okay, and this one cannot be H. Cannot be the height. What is the unit here?
PV.
Look, this is meter cube per minute. So what is this, ya shabab?
dV.
This is volume. This is volume. This is time. So this is V and this is T. So it is dV dt. Where V here is the volume. What is the question? So this is what is given. What is required? What is unknown? Find the rate at which the water level, this is the water. Let's say the water is up to here. This is the water. So he said, find the rate at which the water level is rising when the water is 3 meters deep. What is this? When the water is 3 meters deep. So what we want, he asking about the level rising, the level. So he's asking about the H dt. Am I right?
Yes.
Because this is the level. When H is here, is here. So it is the H dt. But what is this?
When X equal to 3.
What is X? What is X? We didn't mention X here.
When H
is 3. This is when, what is the H dt? When H is 3. Yes. So it is important to understand the problem. And if you can translate it from English to mathematics, you are done. So let's now see, the solution is here, but I want you to think about it without looking at the solution. And this is what you should usually do, ya shabab. Don't look at the solution, try to solve it, because we had previous 2 examples. So this is the cone that we have. This is the radius. And the radius of the base is 2. It is given. It is fixed. But of course, the radius here will be changed because it is a cone. It will not be the same always. And of course, we have the whole height of the cone is 4. H here is a variable. It changes. It depends on the amount of the water that is pumped. H could be here if you just fill up to here. If you fill more, so it will be changed with time. It depends on how and on the amount of water has been pumped to the cone. And of course, the radius also will be changed. I'm talking about the radius of the level of the water, not about the radius itself of the cone. So this is what we have. So it is important to mention your notation. What is V? Let's V be the volume. R is the radius of the surface, the radius of the surface of the water, and H is the height of the water. Now, what is given? What is required? What is given is dV dt. This is what is given, dV dt. What is unknown? dH dt when H is 3. It is, he will not ask you the dt in general. It might be in some specific problems, but usually when he asking about something, it should be at specific data, not in general. So don't forget this always. So now the most important step is the next one. Now, what is the relationship? What is the relationship, ya shabab? What is it? Now, what are my quantities? My quantities are V, R, and H. What is the relationship between them?
The volume.
The volume of the cone. Okay, I don't know what is the volume of the cone. Do you know what is it? Who knows what is it? If you forget it, it's okay at the beginning, but at the end you should know what is it. Here it is. This is the cone. This is the volume of the cone, and this is the surface area of the cone. Don't forget them. So the volume of the cone is third by R squared H. So this is the relationship between them. So here we are. This is the relationship between V and H is this. V and H and R, of course. It should be mentioned here. Wow. So here V is a function of two variables now. Is R here? H is a constant? No, it changed with time. What about R? Is R a constant or it changed with time?
Constant.
No, R is changed with time. We are not talking about this R, shabab. This is the of the cone itself. I'm talking about the radius of the surface of the water. It will be changed when you raise it. When you raise it up, the maximum will be 2. The maximum value for the radius will be 2. For sure, it is less than 2. But what is it? So also, it is not a constant. It is a variable. So now, when I differentiate, when I take dV dt, what I will do? I should take here the product rule. Do you remember that? We should apply it because I have two functions and two variables. So it will be complicated, and we need here V to be a function of two variables. And this is not the level of this course, ya shabab. You are going to study this in MATH101 when you have a function of two variables. Here we need just to deal with functions of one variable. So I don't want two variables. I need just one variable. So what should we do? I want to focus on H, ya shabab, because this is what I want. So to solve this problem, there is a nice trick. What is it? Ask yourself, what is the relationship between H and R? Is there a relationship between them? Let's go back here to the shape. What is this? This is R. What is this? Okay. So this is a right triangle. Also, if you compare it with the bigger one, from the similarity of the triangles, shabab. From the similarity of the triangles, do you remember the similarity of the triangles? When you have this one is the smaller one, and you have another one the same but bigger. the same angles, the same angle here. It is the same theta here. So theta is the same. So this is R, this is H. If you compare it with the bigger one, this is 2, this is 4. Am I right? So the relationship between them from the similarity of the triangle من تشابه المثلثات يا شباب إيش اللي عندنا؟ The ratio R over H will be what? R على H will be 2 over what?
over 4.
So what I want to do, I want to remove or eliminate R and write instead of it H, because I need just relationship between V and H, because I have dV dt, I need the H dt. So I need to eliminate R. If he asking about R, I will eliminate H. So it depends on what do you want. So, yes.
How can I know the d what over d what?
From the question, which water level? The water level here, is it the height or the radius?
I mean the unknown, the dh over dt.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about, Abdul Aziz.
Hashim.
Asking about find the rate at which the water level is rising. So the water level is rising. What is this? Who is rising here? Is it H or R?
H.
H. If he asking about find or at which rate is the radius of the water or the surface of the water will be changed, you will use R. Now, as I said, from the similarity of the triangles, we have R over H equals to 2 over 4. And from here, it is a half, which means that R is just the half of H. Interesting. The radius here is the half of the height.
But doctor, here
now,
is square. We have square.
Now we will square it. Yes, we will square it and put it here. So look what we will do. We will write instead of R, H over 2, and we will square it. This is now the function. Now I have V as a function of H only. So it is a function of H, not a function of 2 variables. Now I can differentiate now. So this is my relationship, Shabab. This is the relationship. The relationship is this. This is the main step in the problem. Now differentiate both sides. So here dV dt with respect to time, of course. This will be 3 over 12. It will be 4 by h squared dh dt. Now I have this. By the way. He gave me h, and I need this. So solve it for dh dt. Divide both sides by this. It will be 4 over by h cubed or h squared. Now substitute. H is 3 and this is 2. So this is 2. H is 3. Now simplify. So dH dt is 9 or 8 over 9 by meter per minute. Meter per minute. Is that clear, Shabab? If you have any question, let's have an old exam question. 1 minute to read it, Shabab. Or why 30 seconds. Let's read it together. A water tank has the shape of an inverted circular cone. What is this? A water tank has the shape of inverted circular cone. They are copy-paste the example.
Doctor?
Yes.
Is the formula is always given like this, volume of cone?
No. There is no guarantee.
Okay.
Could be, but if you solved 2 or 3 problems that talking about a cone, you will memorize it by default.
Okay.
So we have a water tank has the shape that inverted cone, that the base radius is 3 and the height is 6. If the water being pumped into the tank is 3 meters, find the rate at which the water level is rising. What is this? This is copy-paste of example number 3 or number 4, number 3. So I will not solve it. If you have to solve it, Shabab. If you understand the example, you will be able to solve it. And very easy. It will be very easy. Now, let's go to another example. We have here, again, I will give you let's say 20 seconds to read it. Yalla. Try to understand it. Try to sketch a figure. This is important. Sketch the figure of the problem. Find the relationship. Determine the variables. What are the variables? What are the constants? What are the rate of change that you want to find? What are the rates of change that they are given? And what is the relationship? The main step is how to find the relationship between your variables. Read it. Remember, Shabab, if this is the north, this will be what? The east, the west, and this is the south. Am I right?
West to the left, east to the right.
This is the all the opposite. Here it is. News. If you want to remember it, it is just news. News, yes. So what we have here, we have a car that is traveling west. So it is going this way. This is the west. And he gave me the rate at which is traveling. 90 kilometers per hour. And car B is traveling north. So we have, I don't know, it could be here, it could be here. I need to decide, to read the problem to decide. So if this is the north, it will travel this direction, this way. Now, both cars are headed for the intersection of the two routes. So they will meet each other. So if they are going to meet each other, this is not accepted. So they will go this way. At, طبعا there will be an intersection point here between them at the end. At some time. At what rate are the cars approaching each other when car A is 60 meters and car B is 80 meters from the intersection? So here, when the distance from here to, if this is car A and this is car B. Now, after some time, here, the distance from here to here, it will be a variable. It will change. And also here, this will be changed. So let's say this is X, this is Y. Now, this will be the X dt. And this will be dx, dy dt. And of course, at some time, at certain distance, he gave me the certain distance. When this is 60 and this is 80, what will be the distance between them? And he said, at what rate of car approaching each other? So this distance from here to, let's call it Z. He asking about dz dt. Let me make it clear. I think the graph here will be better than mine. Yes. So what we have here, we have a car that is going this way. And another car that is going this way. So this is the distance. This distance is a variable. So let's call it X. And this is a variable of time, of course. Let's call it Y. Now he asking about at what rate, so he asking about d, something dt. At what rate the car approaching each other. So when they will meet each other, they will approach the other when they are at the intersection point. So here they will be, the distance between them will be 0 and they will approach each other. So now, of course, the distance between them, it is a variable. It will change. Look, when they are here, it will be smaller and smaller and smaller. It will be like this. So let's call it Z, the distance between A and B, let's call it Z. It is also a variable. And he asking about dz dt, not in general. He asking about dz dt when what? When this distance, when X is 60 and Y is 80. Okay? Is it understood, ya shabab, until now? So let's see be the intersection point of the roads, and X is the distance from A to C, and Y is the distance from B to C, and Z is the distance between the two cars. Now, what is this? This represents what, ya shabab? This is, as I said, it is dx dt, and this will be dy dt. Am I right? Look, what is important here for you to realize that the dx dt is not 90, it is negative 90. And dy dt, it is what? Negative 100. This is new trick that we didn't talk about before. Why they are negative, ya shabab? Why they are, the rate of change here are negative?
Because it's going left, maybe.
Going to the negative axis.
The reason is the derivatives are negative because X and Y are what? Decreasing. Is the distance here going to be increase or decrease? Is it going to be bigger or smaller when the car is moving here?
Please.
It will be decreasing, it will be smaller. Also here, we didn't meet such case in the previous examples. Let's go back and watch them. For example, in this example here, the water, the level of the water, is it going to be increase or decrease here? It will be increasing,
Yes.
Increasing. So the rate of change that we said here, the volume will be increasing. So it is positive. Let's go to example 2. Example 2. dx dt, this distance, is it increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
Increasing. It is increasing, so it is positive. But what about this? This rate, this distance, is it going to be bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Look what happened to its value at the end. It becomes negative. So if you have a positive quantity, if you have increasing variable, increasing function, its derivative will be positive, and if you have it decreasing, it will be negative. And you know that, ya shabab, from the linear functions. Do you remember when you have increasing line, its slope will be positive, and if it is decreasing this way, its slope will be negative. So the derivative is the slope. The rate of change is the derivative. This is very important trick. Many students, they forget to mention that is it positive or negative. So ask yourself, is it increasing or decreasing? If it is increasing, consider it positive rate of change. And if it is decreasing, its rate of change will be negative. Very important trick in this example.
How is Y decreasing?
The car is moving here. This is the intersection point. Look at the direction. The distance, what is Y? Y is the distance between the car B and the intersection point here. This is the هذه الإشارة يا شباب التقاطع. الحين المسافة من السيارة هاي لين التقاطع بتقل ولا بتزيد؟ السيارة بتتجه في هذا الاتجاه.
Okay.
Well, it is not going away from the point. Okay, now الخطوة الأهم هي what is the relationship? What is the relationship between the variables here? I have here X, Y, and Z. What is the relationship between them?
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem, Allah يرضى عليك. We have, يا شباب, a right triangle. We have a right triangle, so the relationship between them will be what? X squared plus Y squared equals to Z squared. So this is what is unknown. I forgot to mention it, but I mentioned it at the beginning. This is the relationship between them. Z cubed is X squared plus. Now what we will do, we will differentiate both sides with respect to time. So what we will have 2z dz dt to x dx dt to y dy dt. All of them are functions with time. Divide both sides. Now what is given, what you want? You want this. This is given. Just divide by 2z and you will have tzt. When you divide by 2, it will be cancelled and you'll have 1 over z. Now substitute. Don't substitute here, Shabab. You need to substitute after the differentiation. Now, the question is, I have x and y. X is given, y is given. What is z? I can use this relationship to find what is z. I will use the Pythagorean theorem. So if you, this is x, this is y, what will be z? Z will be, of course, this squared plus this squared, which is 6 over 100, 8 over 100. If you square them, it will be 100. Under the square root, it will be, of course, 0.1. 100 over 1000. 0.1 kilometer, this is z. So خلاص, now you substitute, this is z, this is x, this is dx. Don't forget that it is negative, and this will be negative. And it is expected, ya shabab, that also this will be negative. If you obtained a positive, this means that your solution is wrong. You did something wrong. Because it is expected that the dz, dt, dz, dt will be negative. Why? Because it is going to increase. The distance between the two cars will be decreasing, sorry. It will be getting smaller and smaller. So the distance between A and B will be smaller. And because of that, its rate of change will be negative. So this makes sure that this will confirm that your solution is okay if there is no other mistakes. But if you got, for example, positive, this means that there is something wrong. Any question, Shabab? Is that clear? I wish you got the idea, Shabab. It is the same, almost the same idea. Just these are the main ideas. We have also, I think, another idea in example number 5. So most of the questions, as you can see in all the exams, are coming from these 5 examples. Let's read this example. Also, I will give you 20 seconds to read it. And try also to figure, ya shabab, take paper and pen and try to draw the problem if you want. If you can sketch the figure of the problem, you will be able to solve it.
Mr. Ahmed,
yes.
Can you go back to the example 4? Just I want to check the answer. Yes, thank you.
So what do you want to check? No need to use a calculator here, Shabab. It is very easy. This is 1 over 100. This is 6 over 100. This is 8 over 100. You can cancel them easily.
Thank you. I checked it.
A man walks along a straight path at speed of 1.5 meters per second. A searchlight is located on the ground 6 meters from the path and is kept focused on the man. At what rate is the searchlight rotating when the man is 8 meters from the point on the path closest to the searchlight? So what we have, what is the shape that we have here?
Triangle.
It is going to be triangle, I think. Yes. So let's figure. So we have a man walks along a straight path. So this is let's say this is a path. This is a road. The man is walking here. Let's say that he was here at the beginning and at the end he's here. So the man is here now. So this is the man. So if we call it x, usually the vertical, Shabab, we will call them the first. So we have dx dt equals to, is it positive or negative? I cannot decide now. What do you think? It depends on a man walking along straight path at speed of, I don't decide until now. A searchlight is located on the ground 6 meters from the path. So let's say it is here. The distance between the path and the light, so the light is here, the searchlight. It is what he said, it is 6 from the path and is kept focused on the man. So this is the camera, it is like a searchlight focused on the man. So when he was here, and after that it will be focused on him when he here, so and so on. So it is about, he is getting away from this, so it will be increasing. At what rate is the searchlight rotating? So of course the searchlight, if it is like this, it will be rotated like this, in this direction. So let's say this is the man, and he will keep, of course, moving. So let's say at specific time, the line between him and the searchlight, it is this one. So here, this angle will be changed with time. It is not the same as when he was here or when he was here. So it will be changed. So let's call it theta. Because it is a variable, it will be changed with time. So at what rate is the searchlight rotating when the man is 8 meters? So when this distance, what we want d theta dt, because he's asking about at what rate the searchlight rotating. So dh dt, this is what we want. When what? When the distance is 8. When this is 8. So it is increased. It is when it is increasing. So this one will be طبعا positive. From the point on the path closest to the searchlight. This is what I said, because he is asking about the rate of change when it is moving. When it is moving away from this. So it is going to increase. You can have the same question, but he will ask you, what about the rate of change when he get close, when he go to the point, the closest point of the searchlight. So it is just depend on the problem. Ask yourself, is the man is going to go away from this or coming to that? So is the distance between the man and the point, is it going to be close, bigger or smaller? And we expect this to be positive also, Shabab. Why? Because here theta will be increasing. It will not be smaller, it will be bigger. So here we are. I think there were a problem, Shabab, here. 20 in the slides. I think I'm going to upload it again. It was 20 because it was from another textbook, the picture from all textbooks that depend on the units of US units, miles and feet and so on. So I changed it to be the same as the example in your book. So I'm going to change this to 6, inshallah, in the slides. Yeah, Shabab, keep always in mind that you need to download the last versions of the slides from the Blackboard. Sometimes I update them, I add some stuffs and remove some stuffs. So when we are finished, you can, of course, download them. And of course, Shabab, if you notice any mistakes, anything that is not okay in the slides, just let me know about it, because you know this is the first edition of these slides, so there might be some errors. So here, let x be the distance from the man to the point on the path closest to the searchlight, and let theta be the angle between the beam. This is the beam of the searchlight, and the perpendicular to the path. So we have x, we have theta. These are my variables. What is given is dx dt, positive. And what is required and what is unknown is d theta dt when x is 8. Now, the relationship, how to find the relationship between x and theta, between my two variables. How can I relate them, Shabab?
Pythagorean theorem.
الساين والكوساين.
Yes. Trigonometric functions. So because we have a triangle, so we have here a right triangle, not any triangle, it is right. It will be easier. So this is my theta, this is x, and this is fixed, of course. This distance will not be changed, Shabab. هذه المسافة اللي هي searchlight, it will be here, it will not be moved, it will not be changed. So it is 6. لكن هذه it will be changed because it depends, is the man is here or here. So this is a variable. So don't depend on that. This is a variable, you can call it z, whatever. He's not asking about this, by the way. He can ask about the distance between the man and this. Another problem you can think of. But he is asking now about the d theta dt. So the relationship between them is what? Which one is better to use here, sine or cosine or tan?
Tan.
What I have the opposite This is the angle, this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent. When you have the opposite and the adjacent, it is better to use tangent. So the relationship between them is this: x over 6, it is tan theta. And solve it for x. This means that x is equals to tan theta. So this is the main relationship that we have. Now what we will do, we will differentiate both sides with respect to what? To time. So what we are going to have, it will be dx dt equals to 6 what? Secant squared theta d theta dt. Now, what do we have? What do we have? What do we want? We have dx dt. I need d theta dt, and also I have x. So my x is given. I have x. Where I will use it. There is no x here. So I need secant squared theta. What is this? So there is no x here, Shabab, to substitute.
I should find it.
Aha, from where? From here. So now we have tan theta equals to x over 6. When x is 8, tan theta will be 8 over 6. So what you will do, you will draw the triangle that you have, the right triangle. This will be 8, this will be 6, this will be theta at specific time, طبعا. And now you need to find secant. What is secant theta? It will be what? You need to find this, because this will be 1 over cosine theta, and cosine theta, of course, you know that it is the adjacent. The adjacent is 6, طبعا 1 over. The adjacent is 10, and you need the hypotenuse. What is the hypotenuse here, Shabab? What will be this? Who can tell me?
10.
It will be the square root of this squared plus this squared. So this will be 64 plus 36, 100. Under the square root, it is 10. So this will be over 10. So it will be what? 10 over 6, it will be 5 over 3. 5 over 3. So here we are. So it is 1 over 6 d theta. You need to solve it for d theta because this is what we want. So divide by this. Divide by this. It will be 1 over 6 secant squared theta. And you know that 1 over secant is cosine. So just find cosine now. So now this is cosine. As we said, cosine is this. So cosine theta is 6 over 10, which is 3 over 5. Now substitute here by 3 over 5 and square it. Why he didn't? In the next step he did. Why it is late? خلاص, we have it, ya shabab. I can do it from the beginning. Look here. He substitute by dx dt. We have it. It is given. It is 15 over 10. Simplify. It will be 1 over 4. Then substitute by cosine theta. This is cosine theta. 9 over 100. It is 0.09. And it is expected. It is positive. If you got it negative, it means that you are wrong. Any question, ya shabab? Let me make it clear for you if you have any question. Ready, ya shabab, to solve any problem from this section?
Sir,
Yes.
can you repeat the third step, which has cosine square, 1 over 6 cosine square?
Divide. انت الآن what is given for you? You have dx dt. This is given, and this is what we want.
Yes.
So now you have here dx over 6 equal. I want this one. So I will solve this equation for it. It is okay. You can keep it as it is. Yani, no problem. And what he did, he solved it for this. So he divided both sides by 6 secant squared theta. This will be cancelled, and you will have the theta dt equals to 1 over 6 secant squared theta dx dt. Now 1 over secant is what? This will be 1 over 6, and 1 over secant, it is cosine squared. Got it? But of course, you can work here, Shabab. This means you can also work here. What is dx dt? It is 0.1 equals to 6 secant squared. It is 5 over 3 all squared. D theta dt. Now simplify, and you will get the same answer.
How did you get the 1.5 theta?
It is given, 1.5 is given. dx dt is 1.5.
Yes, now
And
it's clear.
the theta, we got it from the triangle.
Now it's clear. Thank you, doctor.
Welcome. Now, ya shabab, I think let's solve this old exam. I was planning to start 3.10 today because we spend now 2 classes on 3.9, but it's okay. It deserves. I have noticed that in the old exams there are some questions that we didn't solve an example about similar to them, like this one. But for the others, you can see for the others, you can, if you have a look, most of them are solved or with the same idea, with ideas that we have repeated. I don't like when everything is solved, ya shabab. This will convert math to reading. So please don't read to solutions only. You need to practice. ترى يا شباب هذا بيأثر عليكم في الاختبارات. بيتهيأ لك انك فاهم لانك قاعد تقرا الحلول ما قاعد تحل. أرجوكم تحلوا، أرجوكم تركزوا على المسائل اللي زي هاي اللي ما فيها حل، هي اللي راح تجهزكم للاختبار صح. Okay, let x and y be differentiable functions of t. يعني زيهم زي اللي سويناهم قبل يعني. They are a rate of change of time. Well, dx dt is not 0. If x squared plus y squared minus 2x equals to -1, then for how many points dx dt equals to 2 dy dt. What is the solution, the plan of the solution يا شباب؟ ايش نسوي؟ What do you think؟ بايش نبدأ؟ كيف نبدأ؟ What should we do?
Differentiate both side for
أول خطوة في الاتجاه الصح. Differentiate this. Differentiate them. إذا راح نقول 2x إيش؟ dx dt كلهم يا شباب function في التايم. 2y dy dt اللي هي التشير رول minus 2x الديريفيتيف حق 2x is 2 dx dt. The derivative with -1 is 0. هذه الديريفيتيف بسطها قسم الطرفين على 2 هذه تروح هاي تصير y بس هاي تصير like this. إذا احنا سوينا differentiation وبسطنا وبعدين what is next يا شباب؟ think يعني شوف إذا أنت قاعد تذاكر يا شباب رياضيات وما تفكر ما في thinking اتأكد إن في شيء غلط يعني you are not studying.
Solve for y prime.
Solve for y إيش ناوي؟
dx over dt.
Yes dx over dt وبعدين
take common factor.
الفكرة ببساطة يا شباب you can do many things but the idea is to use this. كيف نستخدم هاي هنا؟ نروح نشيل الدي اكس دي تي ونحط مكانها 2 واي دي تي. شوف اللي راح اسويها الحين راح تصير اكس بدل الدي اكس دي تي راح اكتب 2 دي واي دي تي اخليها كلها دي واي دي تي بلس واي دي واي دي تي ماينس 2 دي واي دي تي. شوف صارت كلها الان دي واي دي تي. الحين راح اخذ دي واي دي تي كومن فاكتور فراح تجيني 2 اكس بلس واي ماينس 2 dy dt equals to 0. الحين عندك two factors the product of them is 0 so this is 0 or this is 0 واحد منهم هو 0. وايش رايك هذا ممكن يكون 0 is dy dt equals to 0. اذا كانت dy dt يساوي 0 معناته ان الواي is constant. هو قايل لك ان الدي اكس شوف المعلومه هاي what he mentioned here is important. dx dt is not 0. So this means that this is not 0. So what do you think? This will be 0? No. If this is not 0, the 2y dt will not be 0. And accordingly, dy dt will not be 0. So this one, dy dt is not 0. So this means that what?
You have 1 point.
This means that 2, this is 0. So this means that y equals to what? 2 minus 2x. Because this will be 0, let me write it here. do 2x plus 2 minus 2 equals to 0, which means that y equals to 2 minus 2x. So this is y. طيب next what is it? What to do next? طيب جبنا الواي ان هي 2 minus 2 minus 2x.
ناخذ كل common factor ونطلع البوينت.
Find x in the equation.
Yes. تعال هنا الاوريجينال ايكويشن حط فيها الايش؟ حط فيها الواي بلس راح تصير الان هذه لو ربعناها تصير ربع الفور هذه سميها 1 minus take 2 as a common factor 1 minus x. Now square it will be 4. The y squared will be 4. طبعا the time is up يا شباب if you want to leave. So it will be 4 times 1 minus 2x plus x squared minus 2x equals to negative 1. One equation in one variable. ايش رايكم؟ Can we solve it?
Yes.
One equation in one variable. Solve it. طلع الاكس. Solve it. جيب الاكس راح تحصل على اكس واحدة بس. Because it will be quadratic. If you have time, I don't have in fact time unfortunately because I have another class to follow. Anyway, you will find the value for x. I don't know what is it. Find x, maybe مثلا 2 or whatever, one value. If you have x, come back here and substitute by what? By x to have y. So he didn't ask what is x and y exactly. He just asked how many x values you have and y values. So how many points? Points, ya shabab, it means x coordinate and y coordinate. So we have only one point here. There are questions like this. So this is similar to this question almost. No, this is not. I think this one similar to this idea, and it is solved.
Doctor?
Okay, yes.
It would be like more than 1 point, like 2 or 3 if x was 2 solution or 3.
If you have quadratic equation that has 2, now it is quadratic, صح? The equation is what?
Quadratic.
خلاص, it will be here at most 2 because y is linear and x is squared, so you may have 2 values or 1 or none. So you may have here the only choices. This is not choice now. This is not choice because we have quadratic equation. So we may have no when the solutions are complex, not real, and we may have 2 when the quadratic equation has 2 different real solutions. It could be 1 when we have repeated solutions. This means that you will have, if you solve it, you will have what? 4, it will be 5x squared. Negative 8, negative 2, it will be negative 10x. And this will be plus 4, with this plus 5. X equals 5 equals to 0. Divide both sides by 2. This will be by 5. This will be 2. It is it has only one solution because this is x minus 1 all squared. One repeated solution. So x is 1. When x is 1, 2 will be what? 0. So the point that he asking about it is 1 and 0.
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Welcome ya shabab. See you inshallah next class. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, doctor.
Welcome.